more thing to come, which is Last Laugh, which I need to explain. My producer, Simon, tells me I need to explain this to you. Last Laugh, all that happens is I tell a terrible magic joke, and it takes a few minutes to tell it as well. So if that's not what you're here for, you should go away now. The show's done. No more games, no more news, no more chats, no more guests, just me inflicting comedy pain on you. If that's what you want, it's time for Last Laugh. For the first time here on Last Laugh, I want to tell you not a true story, but actually a fairy story. I'm going to take you to a fictional world. Think it's a kind of a Magic the Gathering kind of world, what you might call quasi-medieval. Think knights, lords, ladies, turreted castles, world of fairy tales, dragons, orcs, trolls, all that kind of good stuff. I think you have a pretty good idea of the flavour. So I'm going to take you to a world and a young man who doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. And one day he's in his little village, and suddenly a big treat arrives. It's sort of travelling circus, and amongst this there is a troubadour. Now, for those of you who don't know what a troubadour is, this is someone who sings. They play the lute. The lute, you see, I'm sort of showing you here. They play the lyre. They play the cittern. They play various drums. They play recorder, and they sing. They sing tales of courtly love, and they sing ribald stories, and they sing tales of dragons and knights and so on. This troubadour has a party trick. He can do all that, like all the other troubadours around the kingdom, but he eats dynamite at the same time. So he's like, and now, ladies and gentlemen, and he lights the stick of dynamite and he shoves it in his mouth and he's like, walls will over and turn left with the hay. He never dies. It's incredible. And it's not just dynamite. We're talking grenades he puts down his throat. Never dies, they never explode, doesn't matter, Semtex, you name it. High explosives, he eats it, sings at the same time. Bit of a trick. This young man is incredibly impressed by this, and he goes to the master and he says, I would like to learn how to do this. The troubadour says, fine, I can do that for you, be my apprentice, and over the years I'll show you how it's done. And the apprentice thinks about this and thinks this is a good deal. And it really is a good deal, because over the years he watches what happens, and honestly, the troubadour is showered in gifts. He plays for royalty, he travels the world, he travels all the kingdoms, he's in huge demand, he's a very big hit with the ladies, it's fair to say, because let's be honest, not a lot of people can eat dynamite and sing and play the lute and the lyre at the same time. And that's what he does. The years go by, and eventually, as you'd expect, the apprentice thinks, I could do this myself. I fancy a slice of the action. And he goes to the master and says, I think it's time for me to be off. You've taught me everything you know. Now it's time for me to move on. And the master says, no. There is one more big secret that I need to give you. And until you've had that, you cannot do this job. So the apprentice carries on, but inevitably, eventually, the troubadour grows old, and eventually he's lying there on his deathbed. And the apprentice says to him, I've been very loyal, master. You've been the best troubadour ever, and you do this incredible thing with the high explosives. I need to know what your last secret is. And with his dying breath, the master draws the apprentice in, lays a weak and feeble hand on him, and he says, don't buy the wine. And he dies. And the apprentice thinks about this for a minute and is really puzzled, because he thinks, hang on, why does he want me to not buy the wine? That's really weird. I mean, I don't drink a lot anyway, and I suppose the wine I do like, other people could buy it for me. Huh, all right, I've always been loyal, I'll do that. So, for the rest of his life, the former apprentice, he never buys the wine. He's always obedient. And if someone offers him wine, he says, I would love a glass, but just so you know, I won't be buying it, because you have to buy it for me, and I've always been loyal to the troubadour. And so on. So he spends his life eating high explosives, the Semtex, the dynamite, you name it, in it goes, nothing ever goes wrong. Until the fateful night. He's done his performance, it's very, very good, and a rich merchant says, could I buy you a drink? Would you like some wine? And he explains, "Oh, I'd love some wine, but I can't pay for it, just so you know." The rich merchant says, "That's all right. You've entertained us fantastically. Our gift to you." So he has a few glasses of wine. It's fair to say he's a little bit sozzled, a little bit the worse for wear. And then someone in the crowd says, "How about an encore?" Now, most performers can't resist doing an encore, and he was no exception. So he prepared a little bar of Semtex, and he put a little sundial on it, because that's a bit like, one of those timers in medieval times. And he goes back into his act, and he shoves it into his mouth. And, "The walls are lava, and her laugh is a hen, and suddenly it all goes wrong. It goes hideously wrong. He loses control, and for no reason at all, he just chomps down on this bar of high explosives. It rushes down into his chest, and as it does, reverberating inside his skull, he hears a clock ticking down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. "Oh God, I'm going to die," he thinks. 5, 4, 3, 2. And in the moments that are left in his miserable, wonderful, yet oh so unfulfilled life, in the moments before he literally explodes from the inside out, he thinks back to that fateful moment when the troubadour, his master, was about to die. And he realizes it wasn't "don't buy the wine." It was "don't bite the wire." And as he exploded into a million pieces, he finally realized what the goblin bomb bard meant. I'll see you next week on Downtime.